Once again, it has been a busy week for your intrepid Fridays at First correspondent. Over the next few weeks, I will be participating in Christmas concerts, Sunday services, a Christmas Eve TV special in Fox Carolina, multiple Christmas Eve services, and recording podcasts, newscasts, and several radio interviews. I was therefore glad to receive the following from Gravely Jackson, a high school senior in the congregation. The source of the other two funny pieces shall remain anonymous. Why did the Freemason receive coal in his stocking? Because he was Illuminati. Dear Santa, I've been good all year. Well, most of the time. Actually, occasionally. Never mind, I'll buy my own stuff. What did Santa say to Mrs. Claus when the sky turned dark? Looks like it's going to rain, dear. As we come to look at all that is taking place in December, our Christmas schedule seems busier than ever. This weekend, our popular Christmas concerts will take place in the main sanctuary on Saturday at 2 p.m. and 6 p.m. and on Sunday at 3 p.m. The only tickets remaining are for the Saturday evening performance, and well over 600 tickets have already been sold for that event. So, if you want to come and bring your family on Saturday evening, please do so. Tickets are available at firstpres.greenville.org/events. Alternatively, you can show up on Saturday evening with your $15 per adult, $10 per child, and let the people at the door know that the Reverend Stan Johnson has sent you. Because of this year's concerts, the times for our Sunday services will be a little different this weekend. Following last year's pattern, we will have only two morning services, 8:30 and 10:45. Both services will take place in the Worship and Arts Centre. Please remember to come early, as seats will be at a premium given that we only have two services. This year, Christmas Eve takes place on a Tuesday, and we will provide 5 services that day. We have so many young families joining us for worship that our new schedule includes 2 services for children and families. The schedule for Christmas Eve will be 11 a.m. Children and Families Morning Service in the Worship and Arts Centre. 2 p.m. Christmas Eve Afternoon Service in the Sanctuary. 4 p.m. Children and Families Afternoon Service, also in the Sanctuary. 7 p.m. Candlelight Service in the Worship and Arts Centre. And finally, 11 p.m. Watch Night Service in the Sanctuary. At the children's services, we will have a live nativity and a very special guest who enjoys cookies and milk, and he will also be joining us towards the end of the service. Please take a note of these times and bring family and friends with you on Christmas Eve. Because we are in the middle of the Christmas season, my colleague Michelle Ward is with us today, and she has a very special guest with her. Michelle, welcome.
Well, I think you just introduced yourself, Richard. Thanks for having me with you today. It's hard to believe that we are really only about 2 weeks away from Christmas, right?
Yes, we are, and it's coming very quickly.
Oh, my goodness. Well, I was just thinking the other day, Richard, one of my favorite things to do with children, and especially mine when they were younger, was reading books together. And really during the holidays, it was such a special time before bedtime. And, you know, they're teenagers now. This is still one of my favorite memories. Yep. And they still love to read, maybe on their own. But you've written some really cool Christmas books over the last 10 years that have been really popular with our congregation, with children and adults alike. Can you tell us a little bit about those books?
Michelle, thanks for having me. And of course, I'm delighted to talk about the children's books. And my reason for writing the children's books was that everyone enjoys a good story. And so let me read a little to you to give you a flavour of what's involved with the books. Dad, please tell us the Christmas story, Amy asked. A story about the shepherds, the sheep, the wise men, the baby Jesus. And so that night, as Dad tucked him into bed, he dimmed the lights and said in a deep, quiet voice, "Once upon a time, a long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away." "Dad," said Thomas, "that's not how the Christmas story begins. Please tell us the real Christmas story." Dad began again. "Once upon a time, a long time ago, A little girl lived at the edge of a forest, and one day she came across a beautiful cottage. And she knocked on the door, but when no one answered, she tiptoed inside, and on the kitchen table sat 3 bowls of porridge. "Dad," said Amy, rolling her eyes, "that's the story of Goldilocks. Please tell us the real Christmas story." And of course, Dad then goes on to tell the real Christmas story. So there's a lot of fun and adventure for the children and the families across all 3 books. The dad and the granddad get up to all sorts of shenanigans telling them the Christmas story, but they always come back to the real meaning of Christmas.
Oh, that is so cool. So it's a series, essentially. Okay.
It is.
Oh,
And it runs over 3 Christmases, and each book has 3 chapters, just long enough for a parent to read for a child as the child's setting down to bed each night.
and what a beautiful gift. Again, like I said, one of my favorite memories. And so I get it. Okay, so you can buy one or all 3, but really, it's best to buy all 3.
All 3 are a lot of fun. And last year we printed 300 of them, and they sold out over 2 Sundays. And so they're very popular for grandparents to wrap up and send to grandchildren in Toronto or Texas or Oregon or wherever their grandchildren are. And it then allows not just the grandchildren to engage with the books and enjoy the Christmas story, but it allows their mum and dad to interact with them at Christmas.
Absolutely. And I think we should all look at Christmas through the eyes of a child. What a wonderful, wonderful thing. Truly, one of the best ways you can spend time with your kids is reading with them. And how cool to have kind of a local celebrity and senior pastor who's written the books. So we're excited. Well, I understand you can find these books and more at our Books and Gifts at First, which is located here at the church in the Sturgis gathering area. And you can also find not only Richard's books bundled up and ready to go and already wrapped for you, you can also find some home decor and puzzles and jewelry and all your gift needs.
Yes, it's a great place to shop for Christmas.
Yes, it is. And one of the only Christian bookstores in Greenville, from what I understand these days.
Pretty much. And it becomes so popular at this time of year. So if you're thinking of picking up books or, just as you say, Christmas gifts, slip round to the bookstore after the morning service, and the folks there will be only too glad to help.
Absolutely. Yes, you can stop by Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., or like Richard said, on Sundays before and after worship services.
As we continue to move through December, inevitably we will also begin to think about 2025. As you look forward, I wanted to remind you that I will be leading a European tour entitled Fall Season in Europe, and this will take place next year, September 16th through the 26th. We will be visiting Prague in Czechoslovakia and Wittenberg, Eisenach and Munich in Germany. We will finish the trip with visits to Zurich and Geneva in Switzerland. This could make the perfect surprise gift for Christmas. Please give that some thought and come and join us. For further information, you can find details at firstpresgreenville.org/events or contacting Lindsay Graham, LG Travel at firstpresgreenville.org. And finally, please give a warm 10:45 Ignite service welcome to Wells Thaxton Pierce, 2 years, 10 months, along with his brother Briggs Allen Pierce, 1 year, 4 months, as they bring Mom Bree and Dad Alan for their baptism. It is always an exciting time for a family to participate in the sacrament of baptism, and I know you will be delighted to welcome them on Sunday morning. On Sunday, we will also be continuing our series of Advent studies in John's Gospel. So please take a moment and familiarise yourself with John chapter 1, verses 14 through 18, as you prepare for worship this Sunday. Meanwhile, I trust you have a great weekend, and I look forward to you joining me for the third Sunday in Advent.